Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga. Welcome. This is Soft Flow Yoga, a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. So glad that you're here. So for our practice today, we're going to do a pose that we're familiar with, and it's called Pigeon Pose. So it's a great hip opener, and we're going to be using lots of props as we get into that posture. And there's some wonderful ways you can get into that pose using the props. And we're going to be doing pigeon and double pigeon. So I won't say any more about that just yet, but once we get to that posture, you'll see that it's a really great pose to really open up tight hips. And as some of you know, I have very tight hips. So I love hip opening practices like this one. So, like I've said, we like to use props for this class. So if you are joining us, welcome. You want to have a blanket, something soft that you can sit on and kneel on. You can also use, I don't have one with me, but in addition to this or to replace this, you can have a towel that you can fold or even roll up, okay? Because that can come in handy too. And then a couple of yoga blocks if you happen to have them. And again, the rolled up blanket or towel will also take the place of yoga blocks if you don't have them, okay? So yoga blocks. And then maybe just a big pillow. This is just a yoga bolster. It's very firm and great for Shavasana or any other kind of restorative posture that you want to use. And this also could be used for pigeon pose. Actually, all the props that we use can be used for pigeon pose as a way to just comfortably be in that posture. And that's what we really want to do as we practice together in soft flow, is really thinking about this. The premise of this practice is that we're taking our time, we're moving slowly, and I like to say that we're moving and getting into postures working at 60% rather than 100%. We go slowly, I break things down with the intention of taking care of ourselves, being kind, gentle, and loving to ourselves. That's our kind of bottom line. Alrighty, so we want to begin. I invite you to take a comfortable seat, so feel free to sit on your pillow or blanket. I like to cross my legs. You're welcome to cross your legs. You don't have to cross your legs. You can even extend your legs out. And if you need a little extra support for your back, for example, go ahead and sit up against a wall or go ahead and sit in a chair for these first few moments. We just want to get into breath. So again, just a nice lengthened spine, either sitting freely like this or up against a wall or in a chair. Arms are relaxed, hands can just rest in your lap. You can take a few deep breaths, very audible breaths. Breathing in through your nose, perhaps you can exhale through your nose or exhale through your mouth with a soft sigh. Do that a couple times. Just to get in tune with yourself. These nice deep breathing efforts. And then just settle into slow, steady breaths. Mindful breathing. So you still want to feel the breath moving throughout your body. You want to be able to hear your breath, even if it's just kind of a soft whisper. You can do this with your eyes open. If they are open, just gaze forward or even downward. You don't have to focus on anything in particular. Just down or forward is good. Or you can do this with your eyes closed. And that way you can also just move inside of yourself, starting to pay attention to how you're feeling inside. Slow, steady breaths. This is just our breathing meditation. Very nice. And just to bring a little bit more awareness to your breath, you want to inhale and just feel the breath rising to fill up your lungs. Kind of expansive here. And as you exhale, just draw your navel inward towards your spine. It doesn't have to be anything too significant, just an awareness of just a light engagement. Again, an inhale to feel the lengthening of your spine, growing tall in your seat, feeling the lungs expand. Exhaling, drawing belly in, just to feel that light engagement of your abdominal muscles here in your center body. Do that a few more times. Another wonderful way just to bring yourself to full presence, full awareness, connection. In a moment, we'll start a very simple movement, our moving meditation. Go ahead and just take 2 more breaths while you still sit in stillness. And when you're ready, inhale, extend your arms out and up into the air. Treat it like a nice stretch. Reach towards the ceiling. Then exhale, extend your arms out and then back down by your side. Let's do that again together. Inhale, extend your arms out, reaching across the room, then all the way up towards the ceiling. Very nice. Exhale, extend your arms out, and then back down. We're just going to continue to move. Breathe and move on your own. Same movement here. Very simple. Just out and up with your arms, then back down. And allowing your breath to guide you. So when you inhale, you let the arms float all the way up. Complete the inhale. Then begin the exhale and let your arms float back down by your side. Once again, just go at your own pace. You don't necessarily need to follow me. Just follow your own breath. And as you're moving in slow motion, you're feeling the energy move through your body, nice extension through the arms, reaching out through your fingertips. You reach up, maybe a lengthening down through the sides of your body. Awareness of your shoulders, the lengthening in your spine, and of course, your breath. Go ahead and complete the breath that you're on right now, and then take 2 more breaths, breathing with movement. And whenever you're complete, you can just bring your arms back down by your side. Let your shoulders, arms, and hands relax. Return to the awareness of your breath as you sit in stillness. Let's move into a gentle back bend. Just going to take your hands and just reach behind you. I like to come to my fingertips here. You can also come down to your palms, but if you notice, when you come to your palms, you flex your hand. And that can get, a little, for me, a little tiresome in the wrist like that, especially when there's pressure on it. So you can even come up onto your fingertips. You can even do fists, okay? In some of our postures, you can even do fists. But for here, maybe just your fingertips. So hands behind you. Roll your shoulders back just to open up through the chest a bit. And then even tip your chin upward, not too far, just a nice opening for the neck and your chest. We'll inhale, just press your fingertips into the ground, feel the energy rise up through the arms, and then fill up your lungs as you inhale. When you exhale, draw belly button in towards spine. Feel your shoulder blades squeeze together as you're able behind you. So we're just bringing more energy and sensation to the body as we sit in this mild back bend. Again, when you inhale, just feel the pressure of the fingertips pressing into the ground, the energy up the arms, shoulders roll back, breath rising, filling up your lungs. Your exhale, connection to center, navel to spine, squeezing shoulder blades together. Maybe just 2 more breaths here, just feeling this energy, paying attention to it because we're going to let it relax in a second here. Then go ahead and lower your chin, looking forward. Walk your hands towards yourself to sit up nice and tall. And just bring your arms down by your side, hands relaxing in your lap. And notice that shift, that change from that energetic body now to a relaxed body. Alrighty, so that was our back bend. Let's take our forward folds. If you happen to be sitting with your legs crossed, go ahead and uncross your legs. I'm going to place the soles of the feet together here. So they're just touching. A couple things we can do here. Now we can bring the heels in pretty closely into the body. That means there's going to be a significant bend in the knees. And if that doesn't feel quite right on your knee joints, okay to slide the feet way out front. And maybe form more of a 90-degree angle in the legs here, less pressure on the joints. That's one thing. And the other is, it doesn't matter if the legs touch the ground or not. Right here, there might be some space. So what you could do is grab your yoga blocks or rolled up towels or even some hardbound books or soft pillows and just place them there underneath for a little support. Then just hold onto your shins or ankles, wherever your feet happen to be. That's easy for you to sit up tall. We're going to inhale and feel the spine lengthen. Exhale, draw belly in just to support body as you start to slowly hinge forward just a little bit, not very far at all. Holding here for a moment, settling into the pose. Then inhale again, more lengthening through the spine. Exhale, draw belly in and hinge forward a tiny bit more. Now you're welcome to stay just like this. I might go down a tiny bit more. Again, we're working at that 60%. I'm about 40% right now. And so I'm going to go a tiny bit more until I feel just enough sensation in the inner thighs where I feel like, okay, that's good. It feels nice. It doesn't feel stressful. I'm not straining or pushing my body. And you can certainly do the same. Another thing you can do here is you could maintain a lengthened spine. Mine is mostly flat and long, but you can also round your back and even lower your chin, which is going to provide another sensation, maybe a stretch feeling through your back body. You might even fold a little bit deeper. Again, not needing to go too far. And just return to your slow, deep breath. We want to see if we can maintain these slow, deep breaths throughout the entire practice. That way you know that you are able to maintain that steadiness, that ease in yourself, not raising your heart rate, not getting overly stressed. Let's take 3 more breaths in our forward fold here. Bound angle pose or cobbler's pose. 2 names for the same position. And then when you're ready, just lift your chin just a little bit to help re-extend your spine if your back was rounded. Hinge your way back up. You can place your hands on the floor in front of you. Just press to help lift yourself back up until you're nice and tall in your seat, and just come back to stillness for a moment and take a breath. All right, let's move our props out of the way. We're going to go to our hands and knees if that feels okay for your body. And one way to support your body on hands and knees is to use your towel or blanket. So you can kneel on it and then place your hands here. Now this is another place where there's that force flexed feeling in the hands. So if that becomes a little too strenuous there or it strains the wrist, this is where you can come to fists like this, okay? So a couple of options. Here's another option actually, just as we're speaking about options. Something like this. Use your blocks. You can come up onto your blocks and just hold on to the sides of the blocks like this. Yeah, the hand is flexed, but not as forceful as just pressing the palms into the ground, okay? So cat and cow right here. We're going to inhale, lift head and heart, arching the back a little bit, looking forward. Exhale, round it out. We'll inhale, just tip the chin up, looking forward, opening your heart, arching the back, creating a bit of a back bend, feeling the pelvis tip backward. And then tuck tailbone underneath, feel your belly button, pull up towards your spine, round your back, chin to chest. When we inhale and look forward, that's our cow pose. And we exhale to round it all out, that's cat pose. Take your time with this, really just moving at your own breath flow and rhythm. Not needing to go too far. Check in with your hands and wrists. If you need to change your hand positioning, please do so. And just feel this good undulation through the spine. Hopefully opening up some tight regions of the back and pelvis. Finish the breath that you're on, take 2 more. When you're complete, just come back to a neutral tabletop position, holding here, maybe looking directly down so your neck is long and straight in the same alignment as your spine. Tuck your toes underneath like this, just tuck your toes and start to sit back, walk your hands back just to a place where there's an ease of you so you can lift your hands off the floor. If you were in that forced flex position in our cat-cow flow, take your time here, maybe flip the hands the other way. Gently press the tops of the hands into your blanket or mat so you get a counter stretch. This is just an option if you feel like you need to do that. Okay? So we're kind of in this mild hero pose, not sitting all the way back. Alrighty, now let's go ahead and crawl off of our blanket or towel, set it to the side. Let's get ready for our next pose. Come back out to hands and knees. Step your hands forward here, spreading out your fingers pretty wide. And as you do so, a couple things here. One, you'll feel a stretch between each finger, and if you're able, grip the mat with your fingertips. This too should take some of the pressure off of the wrists. Press palms into the ground so it flattens the palms, stretches them out, and strong straight arms. Tuck your toes under. Let's do another cat-cow. Inhale, look up or forward, arching the back a bit. Exhale, round it all out. Whole cat pose, then lift your knees off the ground, send your hips up into the air, and you'll be in downward facing dog. If you need to, make an adjustment with your feet, maybe even your hands. Keep a softness in the knees or a good bend in the knees. Lift your hips a little higher, and maybe press hands into the ground a little bit more. Loosen up the neck, just shake your head a little bit. Now look straight down at the mat and walk forward with your feet, maybe right up to the center of your mat until your feet are flat on the ground underneath you. You'll be in a forward fold. You might need to walk your hands toward your toes. Then inhale, slide your hands up the legs. Just only come up halfway. So we're in a flat back like a table. We're going to hold here. And this is just called half forward fold. Keep the knees soft. Long spine. Feel like your tailbone is moving to the wall behind you. And the top of your head or your crown is moving directly forward. Now shift your weight back into your heels a little bit so you can easily tap your toes. Bend your knees, feeling like you're going to sit down into a low chair. Start to look forward, spread your wings out to the side. Stand up, straighten the legs, long torso, reach up into the air for the stretch. Exhale, bring your arms down by your side. Hold here and kind of shake things out. Maybe a little loosening of the shoulders by circling the shoulders. Again, maybe a little circle for the wrists, wiggle your fingers. You can even do that with your elbows. Okay, just to kind of loosen up the arms since we were, on our hands and lots of energy through the limbs here. Okay, let's do our half salute to the sun one more time. That's just folding forward and coming back up. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the sky. Big stretch, good energy. Exhale, hinging at the hips, bend your knees, folding forward. Take your time with this. Slowly does it. Bring the hands down, maybe to your shins, ankles, or toes. Inhale, slide the hands up the legs to extend your spine, long, flat back. Once again, we're going to hold right here, half forward fold. Again, feel the long tabletop sensation of the body, flat and horizontal to the ground. Shifting your weight back into your heels, bend your knees. Start to look forward, spread your wings. Inhale, standing up tall, reaching high, energy through your fingertips. Exhale, arms back down by your side. You can just hold here or feel free to kind of shake all that out again. Well done. Okay, let's go into our variation of Warrior One. Let's come back up to Mountain Pose. Nice and tall. Let's just hold for a moment. Just find your Mountain Pose. Take a breath and we'll start. And we start by bending the knees. Just put a little bend in the knees, keep that slight bend, then start shifting weight into your right foot. Feel the pressure in your right foot. Start to lean forward just a little bit. This is just creating balance so we can actually step the left foot back until it just comes to a natural stop where you can't really step back more, right there. So you're on the balls of the foot there, and there's a little flex in the toes. Then you're going to pivot or turn the heel planted down into the ground and feel your body just kind of shift and plant to that center right there. So you're balanced. Place your hands on your hips, push your pelvis down. And while you're doing that, feel like you're getting tall and lengthened through your spine and torso. With that added space, start to turn and just face forward. Then we're going to inhale, extend both arms up into the air. With the exhale, bend the elbows a lot. So something like this. Okay? And so this is our variation of Warrior One. Again, we're moving towards a posture where we can be in it at that 40 or 60% level, where we can hold it for a good amount of time, not significantly tired or stressing the body. Go ahead and inhale and shoot the arms straight up into the air. As you exhale, bring the arms down, bring your hands back to your hips. Lean forward, put pressure into this front foot so you can step that back foot forward here to the top of the mat. Standing up tall, take both arms up into the air. You might inhale right there. Exhale, arms return to your side, mountain pose. So that's our little flow into our Warrior One variation. Let's do the other side, starting with the bend in the knees, shifting weight into left foot, good pressure there, grounded, connected. Lean forward to establish balance, start stepping or tapping this right foot back, not very far. Flexed toes, turn heel to the floor, shift your weight back and settle into the center of your body. Hands on hips, push pelvis down, feel tall and lengthened through the upper body. Turn to face mostly forward. Inhale, extend both arms up into the air. Exhale, bend elbows. There. Hopefully the bent elbows, takes any tension away from the neck, maybe even the shoulders just for a little bit, even though the arms are, up in the air. But we won't hold it too long. We're in a lunge, but our stance isn't very wide. Now the second time we get to this pose, it'll feel very different. We'll pay attention to those feelings. Inhale, shoot the arms straight up. Exhale, bring arms down, bring hands to hips. Lean forward, put pressure into your left foot. Step forward, feet together. Inhale, both arms up into the sky. Big stretch. Exhale, arms back down by your side. Hold for a moment, take a breath or two. Shake and loosen things out if you'd like. We're going to move right away, moving into our series, taking our time though. Here we go, moving together. Inhale, reach into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, feel like you're sitting back into a low chair. Take your time, just folding slowly. Hands come down, let the head drop a little bit here, back naturally rounds. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs, extending the spine. Now on this exhale, you're going to fold and bend. Get low, just bend your knees more, let the back round until you're low enough to bring your hands to the ground. Once they're there, step the feet back, walking back until they're at the back end of your mat, so you can draw a straight line in the body. This is plank pose right here. We'll inhale, fill yourself up. When you exhale, bend your knees a little, then send your hips up into the air. Our return to downward facing dog. Once again, making adjustments with your feet and hands so you can feel like you can hold the posture, even just for a few seconds. And then we're going to continue. Inhale, lift your right foot up off the mat and extend the leg up behind you, just reaching back through your toes to the wall. Exhale, bend your right knee. Bring that right knee in underneath you towards your chest or chin, shifting your body weight forward so your shoulders are over your wrists. And then you're going to set the right foot down onto your toes, just anywhere on the mat. Just set it down, and then set your left knee down. We're doing that so we can actually pick up the right hand and go get your right foot. Literally pick up your right foot and place it up near the top of the mat. We're going to re-lift left knee, pivot or turn left heel to the floor. We're getting ready for Warrior One. Just as we did earlier, we wanted to find balance. We want to shift the weight back until we feel balanced and centered here. Then you may need to extend your torso out over right thigh like this. We're ready to hinge from hips. Inhale, rising up, reaching up into the air. When you exhale, just bend this right knee a little bit more, lunging into the pose. So notice, this is Warrior One, second variation, more traditional in nature, but it feels different from the first time we were here. Notice this left hip flexor. Okay, pay attention to this sensation because when we get into our pigeon poses, we're going to be feeling some of that there. Inhale here. Exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room, bringing your arms down to parallel. You'll be in Warrior Two for a moment. Nice knee bend here, and if you can see my right knee, it's pretty much aligned over my heel or ankle. You just want to be aware, I'm going to change this for a second. You just want to be aware if you're like this. We really don't want to establish this kind of connection that puts too much pressure on the knee. So I'm stepping back, shifting the energy back, less pressure in the knee. Okay, we're going to stay in Warrior Two for one more breath. All right, we're going to come right out of it. We're going to windmill. Take this left hand up and over, turn towards the front, fold and bend, bring the hands to the ground. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you, plant the palms firmly and strongly into the ground. So you can slide this right foot back to meet the other plank pose for a few seconds, building good strength here. Then bend your knees slightly, send your hips up into the air, downward facing dog. Pause for a moment, settle into the pose, and we'll get ready for the other side. Inhale now and extend the left leg up behind you, reaching for the wall. Exhale, bend this left knee, bring it in underneath you, shifting your weight forward. Shoulder over wrist, set the left foot down, set the right knee down. This should allow you to go get the left foot, pick it up and place it up a little higher, near the left hand perhaps. Relift right knee. Weight is probably forward. Pivot right heel to the floor behind you, shift the energy back, more weight and pressure into that back foot so you're balanced. Extending your torso long out over your left thigh. Hinge from hips, inhale, reach out, rise up. Then exhale, bend this left knee into the lunge. Keep reaching high, lunge low. Arms are relatively straight. You could bend elbows like we did earlier if you want. Noticing the right hip flexor in this wider stance and lunge. Inhale. Exhale, turn your torso towards the right side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. We're going to hold here for several breaths. Good outreaching sensation through the arms, hands, and fingers. Nice lunge in front. Be sure your left knee and toes are pointing directly forward for nice alignment and that left inner thigh release. Okay, windmill, bring the right hand up and over, turn towards the front, fold and bend, plant the hands into the ground, rise up onto tiptoes behind you. We're in a runner's lunge. Plant hands firmly into the floor, strong arms, so you can slide left foot back. Plank, hold, then bring knees to the ground. Okay, you can do modified hero by sitting back a little bit so you can get the weight off the hands, or if you're able, flatten the feet and sit all the way back and down into hero. We're not going to be here long. I'll just give you some variations there. Okay? Alrighty. Let's get right into our hip opener. So our first pigeon pose. So let's grab some props here. Blocks. I'm going to place a block up front here. I'm going to place a block on my right side. If you don't have a second block, then you might want to grab a pillow or roll up your towel or blanket. Okay? And that's all on your right side. And then maybe something up front, maybe even a soft pillow. All right, let's come to hands and knees. We're going to pigeon pose. So on hands and knees, we're going to do several things to get this set up. We're going to slide or step the right knee up towards right wrist. Okay? Tap your left foot. Actually, tuck the toes of your left foot so you can lift that left knee off the ground like that. Just lift the left knee out of the way. Here's my right foot. I'm tapping it and swing the right foot over towards left side of the mat. Right there. So it's a nice angle here underneath you. Now it's mine's at about 45 degrees, maybe less. Traditionally, it would be 90 degrees. So your shin would be parallel to the front edge of your mat. We're not going that deeply today. Reset that left knee onto the floor. Use the left knee and toes to shift your weight back. Not too far. This is where you might want to tuck something underneath the right hip. Okay, you probably can't see my right hip, but I'm taking my blanket, actually, and just putting it underneath my cheek over there and just kind of settling, and so I have something to sit on. So you don't feel like you're going to collapse or go all the way down to the ground, okay? Then walk the hands forward a little bit. Maybe bring elbows to the floor, something like this, and you can stay just like this. But if you want to relax your head and neck, this is where you can bring your pillow or block or even another rolled up blanket or towel and just rest your head here. And then just settle in and just notice what's happening in the body so you can make any adjustments. Now, like Warrior One, the back leg, we're opening up through the hip flexor. It's happening here as well. This back leg, our left leg, is helping to stretch and lengthen through the hip flexor area. Okay, it's just at the low belly, right at the pelvis and upper thigh. And then, of course, the right side, because of the right leg in front and it's bent just the way it is, you might feel a little stretch and release in the inner leg. But also may feel something in the outer hip. So just kind of check in. Where do you have sensation? Let's take 3 more breaths here. We're going to slowly come out of the pose. Just lift your head off of your pillow or block. Come up onto your hands. You can stay at this angle here, so kind of leaning forward out onto this angle. We're going to tuck those back toes. Use the left knee and toes to help shift your weight forward. And see how I'm shifting? And see how my shoulder now realigns over wrist? See if you can do that there too. Tuck toes behind you. Lift the knee. Push hands into the floor so you can actually take this right leg and step it back. So we're in plank pose again, just for a second. And then bring the knees down. I need to move my blanket there. Knees down, full hero or half hero. I'll just call it half hero right here, just for a moment, so we can get ready for the other side. So if you need to move your props, go ahead and do that to the other side. Okay, so that's our pigeon pose. Let's do the other side. So back out to hands and knees. We're going to step or slide the left knee up towards left wrist. Right foot, tuck the toes, lift the knee. Left foot, swing that foot over towards right side of the mat at a good angle. Just again, just kind of where it naturally lands. Set the right knee back down. Use right knee and toes to start stepping back, shifting back. Okay, hopefully we're getting the pressure away from the hands. Okay, so the shoulders over wrist right here, but we're changing that like that. Again, this is where you can probably see my hip a little bit better, but I'm going to bring in my rolled up blanket here, just tuck it underneath. So I have something to sit on, nice and soft, comfortable, there. I can elongate my foot back there. Step hands forward. You can stay up high if you want to stay on your hands, or come down to elbows. If you want to release and relax the head and upper body, bring your head down to the floor, a pillow or a block. Settle in. And see if you can find stillness. So if you need to make any shifts and changes in how your body is at the moment, please do so. Adjust your props. Even feel like you're trying to reach a little bit more through the right leg, that back leg, just to get some more lengthening and extension. But not too much. Remember, we're still trying to work at about 60%. Now this pose is a little bit more significant as far as sensation. So any way you can use props or soften the pose a little bit is to your advantage, at least for this class today. So you're able to hold it and still experience the benefits of the pose. Check in with your breathing. Still notice if you can take slow, deep breaths right here. And take 3 more breaths. Take your time. And then start to lift your head off the floor or pillow. Gonna move that out of the way. Come up onto your hands right here. Keep the angled upper body. Check see where your shoulders are in relationship to your wrist, because that's going to change in a moment. Tuck your toes behind you. Use the right knee and toes and shift forward. See that change? Shoulders are now over wrists. So we have good leverage. Okay. Tuck the toes behind you. Lift that right knee. Put hands or press hands in the floor so you can pick up this left leg and extend it back. And you'll be in plank pose for a few seconds. And again, bring the knees down, take hero or half hero. All right, I was going to move my props to the side here. All right, before we get to double pigeon, let's do a few things on the floor, or lying down. So actually go ahead and sit to the side, swing the legs around to the front here, sit in the center of your mat. Have your blocks or books right next to you so you can easily grab them. Go ahead and lie down onto your back. Right here. And let everything soften for a moment. Now we did seated cobbler's pose, or a regular cobbler's pose or bound angle. We're going to do the reclining version right here. Okay? So go ahead and bring the legs together. Maybe the knees touch, maybe your feet touch. Have a block and pillow on either side of you, left and right. And then slowly take the knees to the left and right. So left knee to left side, right knee to right side. Let them open, and maybe they'll land on your pillows or blocks. The soles of the feet touch. So we're in this relaxed lying down position with this great hip opener. So a reclining bound angle pose. So again, just relax, just a few breaths here. Just still encouraging this inner thigh release. And then we're going to move into a pose, and sometimes it's called reclining pigeon, but it does have another official name. But first, just hold here. Three more breaths. When you're ready, bring the knees back up. Okay, so just plant the feet into the ground, knees bend. Just hold here for a moment. So we're going to move into our reclining pigeon or eye of the needle pose. Keep the right foot on the floor. Pick up the left foot. You're going to cross, maybe flex the left foot. Cross this left ankle over right thigh. And as you're able, guide the left knee so it's pointing to the left side of the room. So with a little effort, okay, it's like the leg is going forward and it's pointing to the left side of the room. And just check in here, because this might be enough sensation for the hip opener. For me, it's not. So this is like 3%. Okay, so I want to lift the right foot, bring it in like this. So I'm picking up the right foot and bringing the legs in close. This is where you thread the needle. Take your left arm and thread the eye of the needle. Hold on to your right shin or even your right hamstring. Flex the right foot. So both feet are flexed. And then you can start to kind of gauge the sensation. The closer the legs are to your chest, perhaps the more sensation arises in that left leg. For me, it certainly does. You can even soften that up or not hold this pose too long, especially if it feels like it's stressful. Remember, for this practice, it's not about stressing out the body. We're about relaxing the body today. How about 3 more breaths? This is a great alternative to pigeon pose, where there's a lot of potential pressure put on the limbs. This takes some of that pressure away. So if there's a pigeon pose that's practiced in class, maybe do this instead if you'd like. Okay, let's go ahead and set the right foot down, uncross the leg here, and just relax. You can even extend the legs. Go ahead and extend the legs. So you're in Shavasana for a moment, so the legs can really relax, your hips can relax. Take a breath or two. We'll do the other side. So again, we're getting into the hips, and maybe this lying down version with the cross leg, maybe you felt this in the outer hip. When we do the other side, just check in, okay? So let's go ahead and bend the knees, feet flat on the floor. Left foot stays on the ground. Let's cross, pick up the right foot, flex the right foot, cross right ankle over left thigh. The leg is kind of moving forward, so your right knee is pointing more towards the right side of the room. Check in here to notice if there's enough sensation to hold the position, because you can certainly hold this. If you want or need more sensation, pick up the left foot from the floor, draw the legs in closer to your body. Right arm will thread through that little eye of the needle. Clasp your fingers around the left shin or hamstrings. That way then you have more control of the sensation or how closely you want to bring the legs. Now check in again with the outer right hip. Now I have a lot of sensation. As I've mentioned before, I have pretty tight hips, so this is significant for me. So just notice if this is, relevant for you too. Do you feel anything, maybe in the glute area or outer hip or outer thigh even? Both feet are flexed. And we're doing that just to keep the legs energized. It also protects the joints a bit here too. And that's going to come in handy in our final posture when we get to double pigeon. All right, 2 more breaths. After that second breath, let's release, set the left foot down, uncross the leg. Go ahead and extend both legs. Once again, this preview to Shavasana so everything can relax. Take that opportunity, it's very nice. Everything just kind of softens right there. Okay, we are going to come back up to seated. So take your time. So I'm just bending my knees. I'm just going to roll to one side, use hands, and just press to lift up to seated. I'm going to face you for this. Now, essentially, we're going to be crossing our legs. Actually, come to this pose if you're able. This is easy pose. Okay, easy pose is just kind of one leg crossed. You're kind of crossed at the shins right here. Pretty basic, pretty common. And I'm actually going to sit on a blanket. That's just going to give me a little bit more back support by sitting up on my blanket. Now, double pigeon is very similar to this, okay? But it's going to add more sensation to the outer hips. At the moment, just the way the legs are crossed, you may not have a lot of sensation here in the hips. Part of the reason is because if you look down at your legs, they're kind of coming in towards you, right? Okay, they're coming in. Can you notice that? Rather than maybe out. But we're going to change that, okay? And I'm going to try to mirror you. Okay, I'm going to uncross my legs here a little bit. Let me try to mirror you, so follow me. So this is left leg over here. So left leg, I'm just sending it forward and just kind of line it up. You don't have to be right at the edge, but see if your shin here, see if you can line up your shin with the front edge of your mat, wherever it might be. It might be way out in front of you. And then flex this foot, okay, to help stabilize the joints here, ankle and knee and even in your hip. Okay, so the shin parallel to the front edge of your mat. Now your right leg, you may have to pick it up, flex the foot, and what we're going to work on is actually getting this bottom ankle way over here on top of the knee, just like that, okay? Another name for this pose is knee to ankle pose, knee to ankle pose. And so that means we want to get knee to ankle, okay? And you can notice, look, there's a big gap right here. And that's perfectly fine. If that's you, that's okay. But maybe now you're starting to feel the sensation in the outer hips. What you could do just to close this gap, that's when you want to bring up your roll-up towel or blanket or block, place something in between, let everything kind of relax right here, okay? So that might be your pose. Now I can get into it a little bit deeper, meaning I can get this knee a little bit closer to that ankle. I'm really feeling the hips now. Now I can bring the knee all the way down, but remember we're dialing it back to 60%. And so this is a good, maybe a good 70% for me. And so I'm going to place my block right here. That feels good. I can hold this. And as best as you can, sit up nice and tall. If you need to, at any point, to get out of the pose, because you can really feel the body kind of tingling, it's tensing up, it's a little strange and awkward, go ahead and come out of it. That's fine. That's the intention of our practice. Not to stress yourself out, but notice when your body is stressed and then move out of it. Alrighty. This is double pigeon, has another name. A knee to ankle pose. It even has a third name, fire log. So it's like you're stacking some logs for a fire. 2 more breaths. All right, I'm going to remove my block there. Maybe you want to lean back so you can easily uncross the legs. Maybe take them out front here. And I don't know if you can see my feet here. I'm just kind of wagging my feet, just letting the legs kind of spin out and in, just to kind of loosen up in the pelvis area. Okay? How'd you do with that? We're going to do the other side. Do your very best. Modify, use your props. All right, so the other leg. So right leg, bending, shin. Be sure the shin is parallel to the mat in front of you, parallel to the edge of the mat. Flex the foot. We're basically doing the same thing, okay? Stacking the ankle on top of the knee. This shin also would be parallel to the front edge of your mat. If there's a gap, but you're getting the sensation at 60%, close the gap with a rolled up pillow or a rolled up blanket, towel, or use a block, something like that. Okay, I'm going to go, my right hip is a little looser than my left, so I can take this down a little bit lower. This feels fine right here, but I'm still going to put a block right there. And if you want a little added pressure without putting too much, you can do a couple things. Just use your hands and just put the natural weight of your hands on the leg here on top. That will put a little pressure there. Another thing you could do is actually hinge forward. Try that, just to play with the idea of adding more sensation. I'm just hinging forward a little bit. I feel that even more in my hips. You don't have to stay there. So as you can see in practice today, I like to give a lot of variations, lots of variety in the practice, knowing that there isn't one way to do a pose, any pose. You really want to get the body suited, or get into the pose that suits your body. And if that means using props, use them. Even if you're very flexible. How about 3 more breaths here? This is our double pigeon. Ankle to knee pose, fire logs. Okay, the true name is ankle to knee pose if we translated it from the Sanskrit. All right, let's relax. Let's come out of that. Move the props, lean back so you can uncross the legs here, extend them, and shake them out. Let's even come to cobbler's pose for a moment. Here's another thing you can do. Come to cobbler's pose. Heels don't have to be too close to the body. Somewhere out front is fine. Keep this space here. Don't put anything underneath them. Lean back and just a little bounce. Just a slight one there. Just 5 to 10 times. Again, it just kind of loosens things up in the joints. Okay? Alrighty, we're ready to close our practice. So let's lie down. Make sure, before you lie down, make sure all your props are available to you so when you eventually get to Shavasana, you can easily grab them. When you lie down, maybe you want to use a blanket for your head or your back. Blocks nearby. Do have your blocks nearby. Go ahead and lie down. Knees bent, feet flat on the ground initially. We're going to move into a back bend, our supported bridge pose. Take a couple breaths first. Settle in, really allowing your hips and your back to relax, especially after those hip opening positions. Whenever you're ready, with a good exhale, press feet into the ground, lift your hips off the ground, grab your blocks or books, slide them underneath you, and then sit. Sit on the blocks. And then just kind of settle in. Maybe adjust your feet, adjust your arms, and everything can just really relax here. It doesn't have to be too fancy. You're just sitting on a stacked set of blocks or books, really just opening the front side of your body, and even opening up in a light way, hopefully, your hip flexors. Okay? Now, our Warrior 1 positions, our Pigeon Pose position, was a little bit more significant as far as the hip flexors. This is lighter, alrighty? Not too much pull or stretch there, but it is a nice variation for a hip opener or a hip flexor release. Here's an option for you. You can stay just like this or extend both legs up into the air to create an inverted posture. If you would like to extend the legs up, you can do this on your stacked books or blocks, or come all the way down to the ground. This could even be done on a cushion, okay? Just to give you a little lift in the lower region of the body, and then extend the legs. Now at first you might extend the legs and they're energized, and then you may want to loosen them up. Bend the knees, loosen up the ankles and feet and toes. I like to add a little bicycle pedaling, okay, just to get into the joints. Once again, the knees. And it's nice because there's no pressure on the knees. There's some movement in the hips, and that's certainly a part of the body we've been working on. Okay, or just hold still, extending the legs. You can even take the legs out wide if you want. Here's another thing. You can cross the legs, bring them up and let them cross. Maybe left leg goes in front of the right. That might give a little stretch in the IT band down to the outer hips. Open it up again and then cross with the right leg in front. Okay, these are just some options for you if you happen to be in this inverted position. If you get tired here, just bend your knees and place your feet back down onto the floor. Continue with your mild supported back bend. Let's take 3 more breaths. After your third breath, no rush, you want to lift your hips off of your blocks, move your blocks out of the way, and come down to the ground. Okay, we're going to keep the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, but take the feet kind of wide, maybe to the edges of your mat. Okay, we're going to go into a twist, but I'm going to call this a windshield wiper twist. Okay, so take the legs a little wider, so feet wider, which means your knees are farther apart. And then slowly start taking the knees over to your left. The right knee will kind of dip to the inside. Now, neither of these knees need to touch the ground. Here is another opportunity to use your blocks. So you can place a block or a rolled up pillow or towel underneath left knee and maybe right knee if you can reach it. I'm doing that for my right leg because of this particular rotation of the right leg. It's an inner rotation, which is a little unnatural, okay? And it might affect the knee, so you might want to pad the knee so it doesn't feel like it's being torqued in any way. So this might get into the outer hip and low back, holding here steadily, breathing. You can certainly just do a regular spinal twist by having the legs stacked one on top of the other and just taking both knees to the left side. You can certainly do that. And when you feel complete, maybe after another 2 or 3 breaths, you just make your way back up to center. Pause in center so everything realigns. Keeping the feet wide, knees wide, then slowly take both knees to the right side. Okay, same thing. Use the blocks or whatever support you have for the knees. The left leg is doing this inner rotation that might feel a little awkward on the knee joint. So pad it if you need to, or support it, I should say. Support it if you need to as you experience this twist. And again, it's perfectly fine to do the more natural rotation or a spinal twist where the legs are stacked and pointing to the right side of the room. Let's go ahead and take 2 more breaths on this side. Maybe start to think about what you would like to do for your final position. That might be an additional stretch or movement if you'd like, or it might be your Shavasana position or any other restorative position. So go ahead and make your way back up to center. You might pause in center for a moment. And then just set yourself up for relaxation. So I'm going to roll to my side so I can sit up because I'm going to create a little tower down here using my blocks and my cushion, my bolster here, okay, to make a little tabletop for with my bolster so I can elevate my legs here and then lie down on my blanket. So this is how I'm going to relax. So just finding ways to creatively position your props so you can find the most comfort and ease in your body for these last few moments. You can certainly just lie flat on your back in Shavasana, flat on your mat, or have some cushioning, maybe your blanket, or is underneath you. You can even put a blanket on top of you. If you have a little chill in the body, a warm blanket on top of you is very nice, just to keep you more comfortable. If lying on your back is not comfortable for you at the moment, feel free to lie on your side. You can even come up to seated. Wherever you are, just move inside of yourself. Eyes can be opened, not really looking at anything, just gazing out and away. Or close your eyes and gaze inward. Slow, steady breath. So once again, just paying attention to your breathing in this relaxed state of mind and body. You're welcome to stay here as long as you need to. Even as I end the practice today, you're welcome to stay in your comfortable place, continuing to restore, relax, and meditate. When it is time to move, whenever that might be for you, start with 5 slow, deep breaths. Using this breath to bring energy back into your body so it's ready to move. As you are breathing in and out, feeling movement return. If you happen to have some props around you, maybe you're starting to move the props out of the way, coming down off of your support. Still allowing breath to move your body. Maybe roll onto either side of your body. Still moving in slow motion, rising to seated. Maybe sitting on something soft and supportive like your blanket or pillow. Perhaps crossing your legs. Re-extend your spine, sitting up nice and tall. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Arms are down by your side. Hands resting in your lap or on your knees. Take a breath right here. And then one more movement together. Inhale, extend your arms into the air. And as you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Hold here in stillness as we take one more breath together. And as we come to the close of this practice together, we bow saying, Namaste.